After the big news of yesterday that Kyogo Furuhashi has signed a new 4-year deal, Rio Hatate has been speaking out on his future plan amid a mega bucks move to Saudi Arabia. And the good news is he wants to stay at Celtic. And then we're all going to talk about Scott McTominay. I think we need to talk about him first. There's been a lot of people and there's been a lot of speculation about Scott coming to Celtic. And one of the biggest roadblocks is obviously him taking a massive wage cut. Now, the last person to move from England that took a massive wage cut was Joe Hart. But let's face it, Joe Hart's sort of coming to the end of his career. McTominay, who's still young compared to that, he's only 26. He turned out for Manchester United 41 times last season, but he's going to be well down the pecking order, so there's talk of him being sold this summer. Not even that, it's just the if you look at the 30 million that they're now saying that they want for him, and then his wages, there's no chance that he's going to take a massive wage cut. When you even look at the Jota deal, if it didn't sell Jota for 25 million, Jota was then going to be on a wage of 45 grand a week. Is he going to take a wage cut to 45 grand a week? Is that the level that Celtic are now going to go at? That's the really interesting point. If they were going to offer Jota 45 grand a week to stay at Celtic, if they turned down the 25 million, are they then going to bring in players that are going to be on that level of money? Which would be rather interesting. It's got away from the old 35 grand ceiling that Celtic had for quite a few years. I mean, when Joe Hart was the last player to obviously take a massive wage cut, he says, but when you come from Man United, you know, an extra few quid in your pocket every week makes a difference, and that's what takes a lot of players down south anyway. But what we do have is we have the Champions League, so he can come to Celtic, take a bit of wage cut, and he can still promote himself as a decent player in the Champions League to maybe get another move in a couple of years' time. Because let's face it, we are just a club that likes to move players on. He's been really good for Scotland, but the transfer fee and the wage, when it comes down to it, for me, is just going to be too much for this deal. It would have been great to see him in a Celtic shirt, but there's a few people saying that he's from the other side. So let's move on from that. The Japanese Times have been reporting on the Kyogo Furuhashi 4-year deal with Celtic. They're over the moon that the former Yokohama F. Marinos manager Andros Postecoglou took him there 2 years ago, and from Vessel Kobe, and they're ecstatic that he is still staying with Celtic. And they also say that I'm very happy to extend my 4 years. It is an incredible club, says Furuhashi in the statement released by the club. I'm excited to defend our trophies and the opportunity to represent this huge club in the Champions League. My personal motivation is to score more goals and to help my teammates win matches. New Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers, who replaced Postecoglou, recently said that Kyogo has thrived since he arrived in Scottish football and shown outstanding qualities. He says, in my first stint we were unbeaten in 2017. He's an exciting player who has hunger for more success of the club. He has great mentality and an unbelievable talent. Always looking good for the future. Let's get back to the big Rio Hatate move. Rio Hatate's been people have been tipping him to move down to the Premier League, like they've tipped Jota to go to the Premier League, and how wrong were we with that one? But he's broken his silence. The 25-year-old midfield player, last week, was tipped to follow Jota with an eye-watering contract. He's come out and he said to a Japanese paper, he says that he hopes to move to the Premier League one day down the line, but hopes to play at the highest level after a success in Glasgow. He then went on to say, a high level such as the Premier League is something that you should all aim for, and he says one day he hopes it happens. It's a once in a lifetime stage, he says, so if I can play there, that's fine. I'd like to take that challenge, but right now my top priority, says Rio Hatate, is I'll do what I need to do for the team I am in, so I will do my best. Talking about the Champions League, he says before playing in the Champions League, it was a stage that he longed for as a player. He says, but now I want to compete there again. I think it was a good experience, says Rio Hatate. So he's obviously staying at the club this summer. He's not really want to go anywhere. If he's going to go to a club down south, he wants to go to a club that's playing Champions League football. That's a certainty. And there's no chance of the chances of a club that stature down south coming in for him. there's probably a slim chance, but the fact that we are in the Champions League is a big pulling factor for players to stay at the club, and players staying at the club and do well. So that's great news for us. Hopefully that it will. I hope Celtic even give him a new deal just to make sure it sweetens it, just to keep him here that little bit longer. And then if he does go, we get even top money for him also. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this quick Celtic news video this morning. I shall see you on the evening update. To all you Celtic fans all around the world, have a fantastic day.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to